Cucu Argentina.
Bro, you're a mess.
Calling all my footy fans from all around the globe. Straight out of NYC, this is The Line Breaker.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to The Line Breaker. My name is Pano.
I'm Demetri, aka Juicy.
And we couldn't finish it just with the Euros. There was another big final that happened this past weekend. What was it, Juicy?
Big Copa America final in Miami between Messi's Argentina and James Rodriguez's Colombia.
Now, if you were lucky enough to get into that final for free, I'm very jealous of you.
Through the ventilation systems, hopping the fences.
Probably digging tunnels, too.
Crazy scenes at Hard Rock Stadium. Absolutely gutted the place, too.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
In the States, no.
I mean, look, let's be real. I know like the U.S. was getting like a lot of flack after this tournament. For those of you who don't know, it was an absolute circus at the Hard Rock. Like, people were like storming it, and they were trying to get in for free. They stopped checking tickets. The game got delayed by an hour and 45 minutes?
Something like that. It was like almost the equivalent of like an entire game.
I believe it was an hour and 45 minutes that it was delayed, which is insanity. People who paid thousands of dollars to get tickets wound up not being allowed in because they just like stopped letting people in after a certain amount of time, just because like they couldn't control it, and they just closed the gates, and they're like, oh, it doesn't matter if you have a ticket or not, we're not letting people in, because they just let people in who didn't have tickets. People paid thousands of dollars, talking $1,000, $2,000, $10,000. It's disgusting, honestly. Oh, you're not going to say anything? Okay, so I guess I'll just keep going. I mean, imagine paying $5,000 to go to a final and they don't even let you in because some degenerates like basically like stormed the building and like just pushed their way in without getting any sort of ticket, and like because of that they weren't letting any more people in.
Yeah, I think in the first half you couldn't even see like the staircase aisle in the stands while watching the game on television, and I think they cleared that up in the second half. Security was going down asking people for tickets, but yeah, in the first half you could not see the stairs. It was literally packed to the brim.
It's a disgrace. It's absolutely a disgrace. From what I hear, CONMEBOL was responsible for all of this, so it seems like they're more culpable, but still, this stuff shouldn't be happening in the U.S. I don't like the idea of like basically people just like, you know, ragging on the U.S. being like, oh, and this country is hosting a World Cup in a year and a half or whatever it is, like, or in 2 years. Like, I'm not taking that. I'm not letting that slide, because why is it that this place has hosted Super Bowls probably, and they've been fine. F1 races have been fine. College football games, which I don't care what you say, drunk college kids can be just as degenerative as, or just as crazy as these South American fans. So, you know, I'm not buying the whole, oh, it's America's fault thing. Like, this is obviously something went wrong with the organizers, how they dealt with it, how they policed it, that it did not go well, because people were crawling through ventilation.
Yeah, it was wild scenes. Probably something we've never seen in the States before. You know, it was actually incredible. But aside from that, we did have a soccer game to watch that night.
Oh, we did, right. I forgot about that.
Yes.
It wasn't much of a soccer game.
I think it was.
You went to WWE or UFC?
No, I think it was high quality, and there wasn't as many fouls as, you know.
They kicked
the Copa America.
They kicked the heck out of Messi, though.
Yeah, he did. I think it was like very weird. It seemed like he rolled his left ankle, but his right ankle was swelling up. It was kind of hard to see where his ankle swelled up during the game. But yeah, it was a hard fought battle, and it was like there wasn't as many fouls, and it was like a free flowing game. I mean, Colombia had the front foot the first half. It seemed like they were the ones asking the questions, probing the Argentinian defense, and looking like they were going to get on the score sheet first. High quality, and they just played very, very confident. They knew they were going up against the team that was a favorite on paper, but they put that to the side, and it seemed like they were just oozing with confidence on the soccer field. Or the football pitch, and it was incredible to see.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Of course, Argentina still wound up winning 1-0. So I was right. Argentina won, baby.
Well, we both were right, but okay.
I was right.
Oh, here it is. Guy just claiming everything on his own.
I was right.
But I'm not gonna lie. The game, like you said, it was physical, but it wasn't as, physical where it's like a foul every 3 minutes or 2 minutes in previous Copa America matches. Colombia didn't go down a man this match, so they can have the issue of sitting back and defending and fouling to slow down the game like they did against Uruguay in the semifinal. But this game was a little rough, and I did make a tweet that said, I think this isn't the game for Julian Alvarez. I think, Lautaro Martinez was the leading goal scorer of the tournament, and he offers something different than Julian Alvarez, and that's a huge blessing for Argentina. So I think physically Julian Alvarez lacked, and he was kind of getting bullied around, wasn't able to really get comfortable and settle into the match. So in extra time when Lautaro got subbed on, I think it was his style of game. He has pace, defenders are tired, he's fresh, he has
gritty.
He's gritty, he has strength in that little frame of his.
He's got that dog in him.
Yeah, and I think he really he came through and scored the goal for Argentina, started the play up, and then made the run in between the center backs without the ball, received it, and tucked it away. Beautiful finish.
Of course, it finished 1-0 to Argentina after extra time. They did not make it to penalties. I believe my prediction was that it would go to penalties, right? I feel like I said 1-1 and then pens, I think is what I said. Could have sworn that's what I said. But then we gave advantage to Dibu and Argentina just because, Emiliano is Emiliano. But
did you think when Messi came off in the second half, did you think that Argentina was going to lose it? You thought their spirit was going to crumble?
I had a bad feeling. Yeah.
Sure. I had a bad feeling as well. Once I saw that happen, I thought, this is it. You saw him crying on the bench. It just felt like all the momentum, and I had a feeling that the Argentinian energy was going to drop off, but they held their own. They weathered the storm for a little bit, and then they were back to playing,
The XG was pretty even. It was 1.04 of Argentina versus 1.02 of Colombia. Of course, Colombia had more possession. They had 56 to Argentina's 44. Colombia had 19 shots, 4 on target, while Argentina had 11 shots, 6 on target. Both had one big chance. Colombia had one big chance missed. Argentina had 0 big chances missed. And overall, Colombia completed more passes than Argentina. Very interesting, because I feel like Colombia's been a very physical team for a lot of the tournament, but I think that they also showed that they could control games if they need to in this tournament. And look, let me tell you, there were parts of this game that were looking rough for Argentina.
Yeah, especially in the first half that I mentioned. I think Colombia was really, really looking threatening.
Yeah, no, they were impressive, and honestly, especially in extra time, I feel like the Argentina goal kind of came out of nowhere, low-key, because I thought they were going to concede.
Yeah, I think the substitution of Lautaro Martinez was just incredible, and I think it was his like style of game where he excels in. Physical, has the pace, and everybody else was tired from playing a gruesome 90 minutes plus extra time. So when he came on, he was really, really fresh. And if you saw, it was very hot, very humid in Miami. So it really had a toll on the players. Huge difference it makes when somebody's coming on fresh after basically an entire game.
Speaking of players, who do you think was your standout of this Argentina team? Don't tell me Messi.
In this game,
aside from Messi,
this tournament, what would my
the entire the game and then the entire tournament.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna say the same person for both. I think this guy is a half of a certain team on the pitch. I think he's just so calm great with the ball at his feet. Big body, great in the air.
Oh, I know who you're gonna say.
And he's got a little partner for his little center back duo, but I think Christian Romero was incredible the entire tournament and in this game.
I know that's your boy.
Would you say that is the best center back duo in international football? Christian Romero, Lisandro Martinez.
No.
Who do you think's a better center back duo?
There's got to be someone. It's got to be someone. Militao Marquinhos?
I mean, I don't know. The way they performed this tournament, I don't know. Just so I can also leave an interesting stat for you.
Sure.
I don't think... Okay, Argentina won every game but one, which was Ecuador, which they won in penalties in the quarterfinals. Okay? They won all their group stage games. Canada, Chile, Peru. Didn't concede. Conceded against Ecuador. 1-1, went into pens. They won. Didn't concede against Canada in the semis. Didn't concede against Colombia in the final. So they conceded 1 goal in 6 games. And you're going to tell me that Marquinhos and Militao are a better center back pairing?
Araujo and Jimenez.
Again, I don't know.
If healthy.
Oh, let me add too. The 1 goal they conceded was in stoppage 90+1 to Ecuador in the game that ended up going into penalties. There's no extra time in knockout games for Copa America aside from the final, so it went straight into penalties right after. But yeah, they conceded literally in the last few minutes of that game.
Any standouts from Colombia?
Oh, James. Easy. The guy...
Not Rios?
He was good, but I think James, turned back the clock a little bit, reminded everybody what he was like at the 2014 World Cup.
Their center back duo was solid too. I think Colombia, they had a little something. I told you I had to give them credit. I had to give them their flowers. Although of course, my pride tells me that I'm not upset that they didn't win the tournament, right? It's my pride. But yeah, I mean, look, they had a good team too. It was not an easy game for Argentina, and I think overall, I would say this isn't the final we expected, but I think in terms of the actual football on show, I think it's one that you could say that the people deserved. Not all the people were at the stadium, but I still can't believe that.
Yeah, that was crazy. But I want to ask you, who was your best performer from Argentina at the tournament and Colombia?
That's a good question.
Oh, and don't say Messi.
This is tough.
Although he didn't really have a great tournament, but
I think Lautaro.
It's a good shout,
For both.
He continued to... What about Colombia?
Oh, no, for both, I mean, like, for the final and then the entire tournament.
Yeah. He did continue that, he got the most goals in Serie A last season. He continued that form into the Copa America, although he didn't... I don't think he started as much. He didn't start as Julian Alvarez. He didn't start the final, but every time he came on or he was playing, he was putting the ball in the back of the net.
He had his best season, I believe, in Italy, from like a personal standpoint. So it makes sense. I would say Colombia, if not James, then Rios, who I think is going to do a big move to Europe. I think he will be. Which is weird because he's 24 playing in Brazil, but hey, sometimes people, they get their moves a little bit later. But he looks a proper player. I can't lie. But overall, I mean, would you say that the best team won this tournament?
Argentina looked slow at times. I think Colombia was the best team at the tournament. But I think they were just going up against a team that's played in the big games in the past, either won or lost. think they've learned from losing the tournaments, and they've won the previous Copa America. They won the Finalissima, which isn't really a major international tournament. They won the World Cup. So this team's been there. They've been on both sides. They know what it's like to be dealt some big blows in a final or things aren't going their way, how to recover. And I think just that experience helped them get past this hot Colombia team that was riding a, I think, 27-game win streak into the final, which was snapped due to the goal in extra time by Lautaro.
They ruined the party. The party poopers.
And just going back, you said you thought Rios had a great tournament?
Yeah.
I just had a question. I think I heard somewhere, but I wanted to ask you. He has a futsal background?
I believe he does.
I think I heard that from one of the commentators, or I read that somewhere, and I focused in on his game, and he was, I feel like he would step on the ball a lot, which you kind of do in futsal.
Yeah,
and
use the sole of your foot. Yeah.
It was very, very unique, I think. I think he had a different, his playing style kind of stood out a little bit.
In footy, we call that a little bit of pausa, a little bit of pause, because you're kind of able to control the tempo of the game. You have your foot on the ball, it can't go anywhere because you literally have your foot on the ball, and that's like when you could kind of take time to assess everything that's going on, and basically the game at that point is played at your own pace. Yeah, I want to say he does have a futsal background, and I feel like we're seeing more players kind of that happening to where they have a futsal background. Look, at the end of the day, I know I was pretty critical of Copa from like a quality standpoint of the footy, but there's no denying overall, like, look, we've been talking about international footy for a while here at the Linebreaker. We got tournaments last year, tournaments this year, whatever. So like we kind of know, but like the technical quality of players has increased tenfold. Like in recent times, I feel like the technical quality is immense. Just players are better. There's no more bad countries. Like there's no more bad footballing countries. Like everyone has an team, like at the very least. Even the bad ones, like they're not really that bad. It's not like back then. So, teams could play now. Everyone could play now. That's what's made international football a little bit more exciting. I know we've had boring games here and there, but there's been a lot of exciting games. And you know what? In a lot of ways, you could say that this final is exciting on and off the pitch. There's a lot of things going on, but it was an exciting game for the viewer.
Yeah, it was definitely exciting for the viewer. Both, on the couch watching from the television, for the viewer that paid to get into the stadium, and for the viewer that
didn't pay,
got into the stadium.
I mean, we should have went.
If I knew it was like that, I would have been there, but it'd be like that.
That would have been wild. All right. With this in mind, when's the next Copa?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
All right. Oh wait. Although we did touch on, what team we thought was deserving of winning, what players played well. What was the most the most disappointing team at the tournament?
Team USA. Easy.
That's a good shout, but I'm gonna go something different. I'm gonna go Brazil. I think that team struggled to get out of their group, or not really struggled, but they finished second in their group, losing out to Colombia. They couldn't beat Costa Rica, and they lost to Uruguay in penalties. And with all this hype, Brazil carries this flair, this playing style, the names of the players, and they look. It's a different Brazil. They struggled, and I think Uruguay was unlucky not to beat Colombia, being up a man, but I think Uruguay was better, and they did end up knocking out Brazil in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and you could probably make a shot for Uruguay too, because they lost in the semis, but I'm still going with Team USA, with U.S. men's national team. They had a good squad. They were the 5th bookies favorites, whether it's just because of that or because they're hosting. Still, you're hosting. and they couldn't even make it out of the group. They couldn't beat Panama. Couldn't beat Panama, right?
Yeah, they went down a man early in that game, and they lost 2-1.
And they tied someone else. I think they lost 3-1 to Panama.
I think no, they didn't tie. They lost to Uruguay 1-0. That was the referee blunder. The last stage of the group stage game.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you're right. And they lost 2-1 to Panama. Yeah, the Tim Weah red card. We spoke about how that being kind of on the manager as well. Greg Berhalter rightly fired after that. But I just think that they're like the obvious disappointments. You could say Mexico too. Mexico is also a host. They got grouped.
Yep.
That's a good shout. And Mexico looked terrible also.
Yeah, they looked awful.
On the other hand,
the best CONCACAF team, Canada.
Big surprise.
They showed out.
Big surprise. Third, they won third, right? They got third or no? Oh, no. They lost to Uruguay in penalties. But they competed. That's the sign of a good manager. A manager who gets the best out of his players, has his players overperform. Jesse Marsch did a fantastic job with Canada. Very interesting. There's a player, Bombito. I think he's a center back on their team. Apparently he was playing college ball, and I think he's like 23 now. And like Jesse Marsch was like, he's amongst the best center backs I've ever coached. Not that Jesse Marsch is some sort of amazing coach, that he's only managed amazing kids, but considering, those are very strong words from your coach. It's like, I just feel like these Canadian players are coming out of nowhere, some of them. Where some of them maybe had more of a unconventional upbringing in terms of soccer, where like they did college in the US and stuff like that, and they wound up going pro, and now they're performing. So Canada's on the up. I said don't sleep on Canada. I had them doing well in the World Cup. I did. You remember that I said that they would make it out of their group. They disappointed me, but now they're coming through. CONCACAF, like Canada, U.S. men's national team, I think they're going to be the kings of CONCACAF. Here's a question that I have for you.
I also have a question for you, but you could ask yours first.
Do you think that the CONCACAF team should keep coming back to Copa America?
I think they should. They should request to be invited to future tournaments. The Copa America tournament usually invites other countries to the tournament due to the lack of number of countries to make numbers better for the tournament. It works out better if you have 16 teams, because then top 2 and 4 groups come out. It's 8 teams in the knockout. So they invite a few teams every Copa America, and I think it would be a great opportunity for the CONCACAF teams to join and be a part of it, because the South American teams are better on paper, high quality. So I feel like it's good competition, and iron sharpens iron for teams and players, and it'd be a good experience for a lot of these CONCACAF teams to just play against high quality teams constantly and better prepare themselves for even the World Cup.
I also just feel like culturally speaking, it just makes a lot of sense. Just American countries, North America, Central America, South America, bring them all together. They should just play. Just keep it going. The best teams from CONCACAF, considering CONCACAF is not a strong federation, and then CONMEBOL. That's it. I just think it's a no-brainer. And I think that a lot of money could be made from it, especially if they keep hosting it in the U.S. It looks like, I just looked it up, there's going to be a Copa in 2028. They just don't have the host yet. If they kept hosting, it would be good. The only issue would be the pitches, right? Like, the U.S. really has to sort out, like, the pitches. There was some dumb rule, basically, CONMEBOL, where, like, how, like, a lot of the pitches were, like, small?
A lot of them were, like, turf, too.
Yeah, but also, like, they were smaller because apparently CONMEBOL made a rule where all the pitches have to be the same size. So whatever the smallest pitch was, the rest of the pitches had to be that small. I think it was like SoFi had the smallest pitch. So all the other pitches had to like be smaller. And like you saw like the difference in the lines from like the MLS games to like the Copa games. And like, stuff like that, just the pitch conditions not being great, basically just laying sod, grass on top of the turf. I know it's not exactly laying it on top of the actual turf. There's more to it than that, but still, just like the pitches were a disgrace.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the U.S. hosting, but I think it's a good thing to have other countries host. I think it's something different for the CONCACAF teams to experience, where it's not like you're always playing in a an environment that's beneficial to you, or playing in Bolivia in the high altitude.
Did not help them.
Or just going out to playing different countries. I think that's also a good experience for the CONCACAF teams. So yeah, I would like to see these North American teams be invited back to Copa America.
For sure, same. What were you gonna ask me?
My question was about one Copa America team. I know you dislike their coach a lot. He did lose his job. Berhalter. And I don't want you to go too deep into it because I want this to stay on Copa America. So I don't want too much of a tangent. But now that they're looking for a coach, there's been a few names being floated around. I want to hear your opinion on bringing another coach that's out of a job, Southgate, to the U.S.
Next question, please. Don't say disgusting things like that. I don't even think I'll be able to sleep tonight. I'm exhausted right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep now. Terrible, terrible thoughts being put in my head. Absolutely not. Although, to be honest with you, oh man, what am I doing? To be honest, he's a better manager than Berhalter. They could do worse than Gareth Southgate.
You really think so?
I think so. Oh, what am I saying? But yeah, no, low-key, they could do a lot worse than Gareth Southgate. Although he is the British Berhalter, but just obviously has more accolades than him. Better coaching CV. He was a more accomplished player. Oof.
It's a tough question, I know. Both of them are your boys.
Southgate is a better manager. I would say, how about this? I'll tell you who I would take. Realistic or my dream?
Give us both. Give the people both.
My dream? Thomas Tuchel.
Okay.
Tournament manager. He's great in the knockouts. His flaws are really, they have to do with like recruitment and like working with like an ownership system, and like you don't really have to worry about that with internationals. I just think he's goated. I love Thomas Tuchel as a coach. Everything else is not great. He cursed my club with, Raheem Sterling.
What's your realistic managerial pick?
Right now, Patrick Vieira is being very heavily linked. So is Hervé Renard, the Saudi Arabian coach.
Oh, yes, the French guy.
Yeah. He's been linked heavily. And, there was another name today. Who was it? There was another guy. I forget who it was. Oh, and there's like some MLS coach like Steve Cherundolo. It's not the guy who I was thinking of. There was another guy. I would say... I would take Patrick Vieira. I would take him. Oh, Mauricio Pochettino. That was the other guy linked heavily. I would take Pochettino. Look, I hated him as a Chelsea coach. Just think of like, he's the closest I would say to like Bielsa. So if he could do 3/4 as good as Bielsa did with his international teams, I'd be pretty happy with Poch.
It's not a bad shout. I think he has a solid resume to go with.
He's still being paid out by Chelsea too, so maybe he doesn't need to be paid that much by the U.S. because he's already getting paid out by Chelsea. So, maybe this is a good time to get him.
Yeah,
because they can't really afford super high wages, the U.S. men's national team. Or I'm sorry, they can afford it, but they're not willing to. They don't want to.
Yeah, I think this U.S. team with the the talent they have, the young talent they have, I think they're one good coach away from putting pieces together to being way more competitive and being a better side overall. So that could be the difference right there.
I can see it. Unfortunately,
We'll never know
we'll probably never know
until it actually happens.
Yeah, if it actually happens. But yeah, other than that, you got any other closing thoughts?
If for those of you that don't know, I'm going to put you guys onto some ball knowledge. Following this Copa America, I think it solidifies this person's position in world football.
Messi's the GOAT.
Messi is the GOAT.
I agree. Messi's the GOAT.
That was my closing thought.
All right,
you
closing
usually
thoughts.
get on me for not having it, but I have it.
He has a closing thought. Messi the GOAT. I agree. Messi's the GOAT. I agree. All right. So, yeah. Other than that, look, this was our Copa episode. Please keep giving us those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify Podcasts and whatever podcast provider you listen to or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Keep showing us that love. Follow Juicy and I on Twitter. I'm Pano_footy. He's Juicy_footy or Juicy_NY. Both.
Juicy_footy.
Juicy_footy. I'm Pano_footy. Add us on the socials. Let's interact. Give us your views. Maybe give us some topics to talk about for sure. We're going to need some topics now that the tournaments are over and we're not talking about the Olympics. So we're going to need something. So we're going to need your guys' help there. Other than that, we appreciate you guys. Keep tuning in, keep listening, keep downloading these podcasts. Please do. We really appreciate it. And the more downloads we get, the more it helps our podcast be pushed to other people, help more people see it. So other than that, my name is Pano.
I'm Demetri, a.k.a. Juicy.
And we're out of here.